Welcome, everyone, to this information session for both congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags, and also home delivered meals and/or home delivered meals grocery produce bags funded through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, also known as ARPA. The project period for both of these nutrition services grants, congregate meals, and also home delivered meals is March 1st, 2023 through September 30th of 2024. All ARPA funds must be obligated by September 30th of 2024. I am doing both nutrition services grants together as one information session because a lot of the information as well as the timetable for these mini grants are the same. So as I go through the information session, which will probably be rather brief, I refer you to the request for grant application that is available on the PTRC website. And I would ask that you read through this information and request for grant application before submitting questions to us, because a lot of the information is already there for you. To our current nutrition services providers, this format will seem very familiar to you because we have used this format for the grant applications for all of the nutrition services grants that were put out for ARPA funding. You'll see me glancing back and forth, and that's because I'm comparing information as I go through, comparing the information between congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags with the information to home delivered meals and/or home delivered meals grocery produce bags. So first, let me say for the congregate meals and/or congregate grocery bags, funds are available to serve people 60 years of age or older who have been or are currently receiving congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags through previously allocated COVID relief funds, Families First, CARES Act, and ARPA. Congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags may also be provided to new clients unable to be served due to insufficient home and community care block grant funds. And I will pause here and just say applicants have the option to either select to provide meals or grocery/produce bags, or a combination of meals and grocery/produce bags. The grant amounts for congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags are county specific, and they are listed further on in the grant application material. You will see on page 5 the amounts available for congregate meals and/or congregate grocery produce bags listed by county. And these funds, home delivered meals funds and congregate meals funds, cannot be interchanged. And that's why we are putting out two separate grant applications. For both congregate meals and the congregate grocery produce bags and home delivered meals and the home delivered meals grocery produce bags, nutrition services providers awarded the grant funding must meet the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Division of Aging Nutrition Service standards. I will first look at the eligible meals requirements, and they're listed for both congregate meals and home delivered meals. And both types of meals must meet the dietary guidelines outlined in the Division of Aging Nutritious Service standards, which include 1/3 of the recommended daily allowance dietary reference intake requirements. In addition, menus will need to be signed by a licensed dietitian nutritionist to certify that menus meet all federal and state requirements as outlined in the Division of Aging Nutrition Service standards. Also, a nutrient analysis must be on file with each certified menu. Both congregate meal types and home delivered meal types include hot, frozen, refrigerated, or shelf stable. Multiple congregate meals served via pickup may be provided to an individual at the same time. In other words, 5 frozen meals in a box or the equivalent of 5 shelf-stable meals. And that is the case with home delivered meals, that multiple home delivered meals may be provided to an individual at the same time. Up to 21 congregate meals per client per week may be provided under ARPA Nutrition Service Standards meals funding. Please note, though, however, only one hot congregate meal may be served to a client at a specific meal time. In other words, one hot meal at lunchtime. And this pertains to the meals served when the congregate sites are open. For home delivered meals, up to 21 home delivered meals per client per week may be provided under ARPA Nutrition Services funding. And all foods contained in both the congregate meals and home delivered meals must be from approved federal or state agency sources. Eligibility for congregate meals and home delivered meals are basically people age 60 plus. Income is not used in determining eligibility. And as listed in the grant applications, there are special eligibility categories that are specific to congregate meals and also to home delivered meals. And please note, a completed and signed special eligibility documentation form must be included in the file of each special eligibility client. And this pertains to both congregate meals and home delivered meals. Also, I will say for home delivered meals and home delivered meals grocery bags and produce bags, those eligible people must meet the specific service provider's current definition of homebound. Now, for eligible grocery bags and produce bags, for both congregate grocery bags and home delivered meals grocery bags and or produce bags can only contain food items. These grocery bags and produce bags cannot contain donated food. Again, a reminder, cannot contain donated food. And in some cases, we've added this, but a special attestation may be required that the grocery bags and or produce bags do not contain donated food. And both congregate produce bags and home delivered meals produce bags may contain fresh fruits and vegetables purchased either through local farmers markets or grocery stores. Eligibility for congregate grocery bags and produce bags. Again, the same eligibility for congregate meals and home delivered meals. People age 60 plus. Income is not used in determining eligibility. But please note, there is no special eligibility category for congregate meals, grocery bags / produce bags, and no special eligibility category for home delivered meals, grocery bags, and produce bags. In other words, these grocery bags are not considered meals, and the special eligibility only applies to meals. So for folks to receive grocery bags or produce bags, the individuals must be 60 years of age or older. Other programmatic requirements for congregate meals and home delivered meals, as well as grocery produce bags for both of those types of meals. For the meals, the Division of Aging and Nutrition Service Standards list other requirements for both congregate meal service and home delivered meal service, which include but are not limited to food temperature documentation, volunteer training, and nutrition education. And for both of these grants, for the congregate nutrition grants and the home delivered meals grants, as well as the grocery / produce bags, funding also includes non-unit reimbursement for personal protective equipment, food service equipment, and other unique items that allow nutrition services providers to continue either congregate meals or congregate grocery bags, produce bags, or home delivered meals and or home delivered meals, grocery bags, to continue to provide this service. Please note that no more than 5% of the total of each ARPA Nutrition Services grant award will be allowed for non-unit reimbursements. No more than 5% of the total of each ARPA Nutrition Services grant award will be allowed for non-unit reimbursement items, excluding grocery bags and produce bags. So in this 5%, the cost of grocery bags and produce bags is excluded. Reporting and documentation requirement for congregate meals and or congregate grocery bags, produce bags, a client registration -101 short form must be completed for each client, either receiving meals, grocery bags, produce bags, or a combination of those two. Again, with home delivered meals and or home delivered meals grocery bags, a client registration -101 long form must be completed for each client receiving either home delivered meals or home delivered meals, grocery bags, produce bags, or a combination of both items. Client assessments and reassessments must be conducted for each either congregate client or home delivered meal client. Again, those assessments follow the North Carolina Nutrition Services standards. There has to be a special eligibility form in the client's file for those individuals receiving meals as a special eligibility client. And for both congregate meals and home delivered meals, consumer contributions must be solicited and properly documented. A meal tracking form indicating the dates and number of either congregate meals delivered or home delivered meals delivered for each eligible client must be maintained, and the distribution of all grocery bags and produce bags must be tracked on a specially designated form. And as we have been saying all along with all of this COVID relief and recovery funding, all ARPA funds must be accounted for separately in the service provider's accounting records. There are cost computation requirements for both congregate meals and or congregate grocery produce bags, and also home delivered meals and or home delivered meals, home delivered grocery produce bags. And that is, their cost computation forms will be required for all of the ARPA meals. There will be a unit rate calculated for congregate meals and home delivered meals. And to simplify things, we're also asking that cost computation forms will be required for all congregate grocery bags and or produce bags, as well as for all home delivered meals, grocery bags and produce bags. And cost computation forms will calculate the unit cost per grocery bag and produce bag provided. This simplifies the amount of paperwork that needs to be submitted for monthly reimbursement. Both congregate meals, congregate grocery bags, produce bags, home delivered meals, and home delivered meals, grocery bags, and produce bags are handled through a reimbursement system. Services provided by ARPA Nutrition Services Meals Funds will be reimbursed on a monthly basis through the state's Aging Resource Management System, affectionately known as ARMS. Reimbursement is dependent upon accurate reporting of service data. Again, both congregate meals, congregate grocery bags, produce bags, as well as home delivered meals and home delivered meals, grocery bags, and produce bags will be monitored according to the monitoring policy, which is posted on all of the ARPA web pages. Again, a reminder that appropriate confidentiality and security must be exercised with these records, and that there is required record retention and disposition which is required of all Title III funding, and that there is a schedule for that with a link to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Controller's Office. The project period, again, for both of these two grants is March 1st, September 2023 through September 30th of 2024. And again, the PTRC, Area Agency on Aging, reserves the right to reject any or all applications, waive technicalities, and to be the sole judge of suitability of the services for their intended use. And furtherly, specifically reserves the right to make the award in the best interest of the PTRC AAA regional program. If the federal major disaster declaration ends before a fully executed contract is in place, any flexibilities associated with these two grants will be void and not allowed. However, once a fully executed contract is in place, these flexibilities are permitted for the ARPA funding, and the end of the federal major disaster declaration will not affect any flexibilities once a fully executed contract is in place. Again, as has been the practice, 3 copies of the request for application with original signatures must be submitted to the PTRC AAA. The address is in the grant application. Attention, Gwen Shields, by Thursday, February 16th, 2023 at 4 p.m. Applications received after this date and time will not be considered for funding. Proposals that best meet the PTRC Area Agency on Aging expectations for service delivery will be selected. Applications will be scored based on their completeness and their description of intent to provide services. All questions regarding these requests for applications must be submitted in writing by Thursday, February 9th, 2023 at 4 p.m. to Gwen Shields. After such time until projects are awarded, applicants are prohibited from contacting the PTRC Area Agency on Aging staff regarding any issue relating to these funds or the application process. You will then see a box with the timeline in it. Again, the announcement of fund availability, Friday, January 27th. There is a link to the information session. The final day to submit questions for both grants is Thursday, February 9th, 2023 at 4 p.m. And the applications are due Thursday, February 16th, 2023 at 4 p.m. Announcement of awards for both grants will be made no later than mid-March of 2023 following PTRC board approval. For both of these grants, a evaluation and scoring tool has been developed, and these scoring tools are included on that portion of the website particular to each of these grants. Again, you'll see in the RFA that the available nutrition services, congregate meals and or congregate grocery produce bags funding by county there is a chart for the congregate piece, and then for home delivered meals and or home delivered meals, grocery produce bags, there are simply two mini grants available up to $58,200 each. Again, as I said earlier, that congregate, ARPA congregate funding and ARPA congregate home delivered meals funding needs to be kept separate, and the funds cannot be moved between congregate meals and home delivered meals or vice versa. Just a reminder that all expenditures must be reasonable, necessary, and justifiable. All funds must be spent on activities related to ARPA nutrition services, either congregate meals and or congregate grocery produce bags, or home delivered meals and or home delivered meals grocery produce bags, whichever grant application is being submitted. An organization may submit applications to provide congregate meals and or congregate grocery produce bags in multiple counties. Each application will be reviewed separately, and requested grant amounts cannot exceed the total amount available by county. And for home delivered meals and or home delivered meals grocery produce bags, again, applications may be submitted to provide these in multiple counties. Each application will be reviewed separately, and requested grant amounts cannot exceed $58,200. You then will come to the formal application piece. Again, please note that we're requiring the tax ID and a SAM's unique entity ID known as UEI. A valid number is required, as well as one copy of your organization's most recent financial statements, audited or unaudited. We just need one copy of the financial statements, even though we're asking for 3 copies of the request for application with original signatures. For those organizations submitting unaudited financial statements, a completed state grant certification and sworn statement, and a completed schedule of receipts and expenditures are also required. This is for those organizations submitting unaudited financial statements. And as always, additional information may be requested. Both grant applications have 6 application questions. We urge you to take your time and think through as you answer these questions, because that factors into this evaluation and scoring. And then each grant application has a budget by category, with the categories listed at the top of the budget, and then itemized categories to give the detail for each of these categories follows. Please also remember on as you get ready to complete this budget that the paperwork does ask for a grant amount requested and a county to serve. So if there are, if you're submitting for several counties, we'll need a budget for each individual county. And the questions that I mentioned before should pertain to specifically address each of the counties for which funds are being requested. And finally, near the end of this grant application, there is a reminder that if the federal major disaster declaration ends before a fully executed contract is in place, any flexibilities will be void and not allowed. There is, however, as I said, in relationship to this, once a fully executed contract is in place, all flexibilities remain, even if the federal major disaster declaration ends. There is a statement for the American Rescue Plan Act bid certification. Please read that. And then there is finally the execution, where we're asking for a printed name and then an authorized signature, the title of the signer, and the date. And just as a reminder, again, the PTRC Area Agency on Aging reserves the right to reject any or all applications, waive technicalities, and to be the sole judge of suitability of the services for their intended use, and further specifically reserves the right to make the award in the best interest of the PTRC AAA regional program. Again, please refer to the timeline that is in each grant application, and any questions need to be submitted to Gwen Shields by Thursday, February 9th, 2023 at 4 p.m. We look forward to receiving your grant applications for these nutrition services. Thank you.